guys, my name's Rob. I'm a paramedic and student dietitian, and this is my vlog of my placement in the NHS, and this is day 5 of week 4. So on the way over, I was listening to a podcast about night shift working and what's an appropriate eating pattern. This is a subject that was very close to my heart a few years ago. Being in the ambulance service doing night shifts, I was always concerned about, getting enough nutrients in, eating healthily. But, at night time, what do you do? What's best? So the advice I heard was that between the hours of 12 and 6 a.m, although we're up and awake, a lot of our body's systems are either down-regulated or, they're kind of asleep as well. And we don't process energy in the same way. We might see exaggerated blood glucose spikes, and this obviously has negative effects for our health. So the advice given was that if you can avoid eating between these hours, you may be best not to. There were some studies looking at high protein meals, maybe before the night shift, that these could be ideal. It seems there's no ideal answer, so you've just got to do what works for you. So another wet and windy day, but check out this view. I will miss this. So it's now almost 11 o'clock and I've had my end of week review and I've made one telephone consultation, which went really well with the review. So lots of positive feedback, which is great to hear. One of the bits of advice was to try and focus more on giving food first advice when talking to care home staff. I did say that sometimes I have a little bit of imposter syndrome when talking to either nurses or care home workers, because I can imagine a lot of them have been in their jobs much longer than I've been doing this, and they have a good understanding of what the interventions are. But I do recognise that a good dietitian is going to cover the basics in sufficient detail with everyone they speak to. So that's something I'm going to focus on doing during my next assessments. And then this was my last telephone assessment with the community dietitians. Very glad that the patient answered, and we had a nice chat, got lots of detail. So I'm just doing my last clinical reasoning tool, and then I'm going to write a letter to the GP. But all in all, it's been a great morning and a nice one to finish on here in YB. So that's it, community placement done at YB. Just said goodbye to everyone. It's strange to be moving on so quickly. Last placement we were in the same place for a long time, so this is a big difference. I thought, given the letter I was writing, I had to go into a bit of detail on biochemistry, so it might be interesting to have a look through the sheets we use when we're doing patient assessments. So these are the blue sheets that we use, and you can see on the left you've got your U&Es, so it's your urea electrolytes, calcium and phosphate, LFTs, which is liver function tests, FBC, which is full blood count, and your lipids. So we've got all the ranges on the result, which is really helpful, and then across the top you can fill in the date of the result, so you can see trends over time. Usually we'll be using U&Es to look at hydration status, calcium and phosphate, so looking at bone deposition and other things that might be going on. Liver function, that's fairly self-explanatory. You've also got HbA1c down at the bottom as well, and glucose, so that would be relevant for diabetic patients. Full blood count, that can indicate quite a few things. The thing I'm usually looking at the most at the moment is anemia, and then the lipids is good for any cardiac rehab patients where we're making indications on maybe they need to reduce their saturated fat intake or increase things like polyunsaturated fat. And just at the bottom as well, the TSH is for thyroid function. So this is something I definitely need to do a bit more learning around, so I can quickly glance at some biochem results and know, this is likely to indicate this. So a bit of repetition and hopefully we'll get there. Bye! And there we go. So on to the next part of the placement. So on my next stint, I'm going to be with the paediatric team. I'm not sure where I'll be yet. I'm waiting for an email today to confirm everything, but looking forward to it. Peds was vastly different last time to what I'd been used to, but I enjoyed it far more than I expected, so I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to try and bring some confidence and get stuck in with consultations, and I'm going to try and do a little bit of reading around the learning outcomes I picked up on last time. So it's things like allergies, intolerances, and anything else that needs refreshing. Looking forward to it. So today's podcast fact of the day is that EPA, which is one of the fatty acids found in oily fish, in very high doses has been shown to enter atherogenic plaques and can help them break down, thus reducing cardiovascular disease mortality. Still early days, so the official line is to eat whole sources of oily fish, but an interesting area of research to keep an eye on.